This simple strategy has helped me so much. You'll laugh at how simple it is, and I found it to be incredibly powerful. One of the things I've learned is that in order to heal, I have to actually really tune in to my experience. What does that mean? Well, consider that often we're experiencing emotions, physical sensations, and symptoms. And actually, rather than tuning into them, experiencing them fully, feeling them, making sense of them, and taking appropriate action, we do the opposite. We tune out. One key way of doing that I've talked about before is that we disconnect from our body and we get in our head. We create lots of thoughts. We chastise ourselves. We catastrophize. We ruminate. Do check out this video that I made recently on dealing with worry and looping thoughts if you recognize ruminating is an issue. Then we feel more distress. We get into behaviors which are distractions. And this results in more stress and distress because we're not dealing with our needs. So an example of mine is that any time I used to feel uncomfortable sensations and emotions, at one point I would go straight into distraction. My strategies included watching, let's call them gentlemen's movies and action movies. By the way, I'm sharing this as I hope that it will help other people who are dealing with similar issues. In the past, I used to feel really ashamed about the fact that I'd watch gentlemen's movies. Now I understand that it was a strategy to help me avoid discomfort and pain. And now I care less about what other people think. Okay? So I call this tendency to distract and kind of run away from our emotions and sensations the runaway loop. There are times that even feeling symptoms and sensations caused me a lot of distress. So if I was feeling fatigued because I had overdone it, that would really be upsetting, and I'm sure you can relate to that. But on a deep level, we are running away emotionally from our experience. At a deep level, we're not actually meeting our needs. Your body is communicating to you, and it does this because it wants you to meet your needs. For example, if I engage in some activity that's going to stimulate me, watching gentlemen's movies, action movies, then actually I'm really exhausting myself when I'm exhausted already. What I really need is to recharge and take care of myself, rather than digging myself deeper into a hole. So in essence, we are resisting connecting to our body, listening to the messages, taking appropriate action. Consider that we experienced distress when we were young, when we didn't get our needs met. And if I keep repeating those patterns of disconnecting from my body, then I'm repeating that runaway loop. Anytime I want to get out of that runaway loop, I realise it's important to tune in to my physical sensations, symptoms and emotions. I tend to use the word sensation rather than symptoms because the word symptom is quite emotive. And people notice when they replace the word symptom with sensation, it has less emotion. So by tuning into my physical sensations and emotions, identifying the physical sensations, I'm noticing tightness in my body, I'm feeling empty feeling in my stomach, identifying the emotions, I'm feeling sad, frustrated, upset, angry, acknowledging these sensations and emotions, accepting them rather than judging them, because judging is something we do in our head. When we do that, we've already left our body. Process the sensations and emotions, i.e. making sense of what's going on and then taking appropriate action. Then we are taking steps to meet our needs. So I've developed a strategy for doing that, which I'm going to share. This simple strategy has helped me so much. You'll laugh at how simple it is. And I found it to be incredibly powerful if I practice it. It takes repetition in order to become a habit. So what's interesting about this approach is it's not about trying harder. It's actually about softening our approach. It's not goal-oriented. It's not focusing on outcomes. It's actually the opposite. It's process-oriented. It's about focusing on the experience, expanding our capacity to be present, expanding our capacity to make space for our experience, to be witness to our experience without judgment, without conditions. Because often people get themselves in trouble because they have expectations, they have deadlines, they have judgment, they have anxiety. They're doing things in a conditional way. They have this mindset, okay, I'm going to do this practice in order to get rid of my symptoms. So they do it for a little while, then they check their body, they notice they've still got symptoms, and then they get stressed because they've still got symptoms. They start catastrophizing, say, I'm never going to get well. And of course, that's just creating more stress and hindering the body's attempts to heal. And it's going to result in more symptoms, because if we cause more stress, we get more symptoms. Often people who have high expectations can experience more stress because they have this idea that things have to be a certain way. People who have low expectations have a greater capacity to be present. In my experience more calm, more peace and more joy. Feel free to disagree with me on that. It's important to allow whatever comes up to come up. The key principle is that you're going to have a conversation with the two parts of you. The part, let's call it the wounded part, the part of us that gets frustrated, upset, angry, and the wise part, who's able to respond with more compassion. An example of that is today I met a friend for lunch and I was talking about an interaction I had with someone. And because I've had lots of interactions with this person that have been very negative, and I don't think they've kind of behaved in a reasonable way, it's really easy for me to get short with this person and be quite blunt in my responses. My friend pointed out that I could have taken a more gentle approach. So that is my challenge with that person, to not be so reactive. Okay. The example I give you is not prescriptive. It's an opportunity for you to experiment with this approach. If nothing comes up, that's okay. For example, if the wise part of you says, what are you feeling? And the wounded part of you says, actually, I'm not feeling anything, or I feel disconnected from my feelings. It's hard for me to connect to my feelings. Then that's okay. It's really useful to be authentic and practice just noticing whatever you notice. So if it's safe for you right now to close your eyes, then you can do that, and I will guide you through this exercise. So the part of me that's feeling distress is going to have a conversation with the part of me that has the capacity for wisdom. You might connect to your own wise self, or you might imagine this wise being someone else, either someone you know personally or someone you know by reputation, or it might be someone fictional. You can decide, okay? So let's say I'm saying to myself, I want to eat chocolate, I want to watch action movies, I want to binge on biscuits, I want to watch gentlemen's movies. I imagine the wise part of me talking to me, and it's saying, okay, if you want to do that, that's fine. But I invite you just to check in, firstly, with your physical experience. What physical sensations do you notice right now? And so after the wise part asks the question, you're just going to answer. So my answer would be, I feel some tightness in my upper back, my lower back, my neck. Great. What emotions do you feel right now? I feel a bit disconnected from my emotions. That's okay. I invite you just to close your eyes for a moment and take a few breaths. And just sit with your experience as long as it feels comfortable. If it feels uncomfortable at any point, you can stop. If you like, you can put one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, or both hands on your heart, or both hands on your belly. Imagine breathing into your heart. As you breathe in, breathing love into your heart. As you breathe out, sending that love to every cell in your body. So breathe in again, breathing in that love into your heart, from the front and back, from every direction, breathing in that love into your heart and sending it to every cell in your body. Once more, breathing into your heart. As you breathe out, sending that love to every part of your body. You might imagine the young you, tuning into them, noticing how they are feeling. And you can let them answer. I notice that young part of me just feels a bit fed up. Okay, I invite you to feel into that, if that feels okay for you to do that. Allow yourself to feel fed up. Allow yourself to be okay with feeling fed up. How does it feel to do that? It feels okay. Okay, good. So now ask that part of you, that young you, what do you need right now? And allow it to answer. I need a hug. Okay, so give yourself a hug. Just allow yourself to be with that part of you. Is there anything else you need right now? I think it would be good for me to go through the switch technique. Okay, let's do that now. So consider there is a wise part of you that's always there. It's like the blue sky. That part of you has the capacity for patience, peacefulness, playfulness, pragmatism. It has the capacity to be present, accepting. That part of you can discern what's appropriate. That part of you has the capacity for calm, compassion, courage, and trust. That part of you has the capacity for strength. That part of you has the capacity to let go deeply. Okay, so let's just check in again. How do you feel? Do you still want to eat chocolate, watch movies, binge on biscuits? Actually, I'm happy just to sit here. Great. How does that feel to be able to sit and be present right now? It feels good, actually. Thank you. So that's a brief overview of this approach. My experience is that by doing this, I noticed shifts in my physical symptoms, sensations, and emotions. One time I did that exercise, the flip the switch, and I fell asleep for 1.5 hours. This was surprising because I didn't realize how tired my body was. And if I had acted out, I would have just exhausted myself. So by practicing this technique, my body just started to feel more calm. I experienced feeling safe in the present moment. I didn't have the need to chastise, catastrophize, ruminate, or distract. I experienced more and more nervous system regulation. I was retraining my mind to respond differently to those emotions and sensations. And I was building my window of tolerance of those uncomfortable sensations and emotions. I got better at listening to my body. I got better at showing myself more compassion, curiosity, rather than self-judgment. So I was thinking of a name for this technique, which is the antidote to the runaway loop. What I came up with was the heel practice, the bridge technique, the stay technique. So staying rather than running away. So let me know which one you prefer or whether you have any suggestions. Let me know if you're going to practice this technique. If you'd like the flip the switch technique that I just did, I've got an audio and a PDF. Comment flip below. If you'd like more tips, do join my Facebook group. I am going to be running a resilience group coaching call in a couple of weeks. There's going to be no charge for this. If you'd like to join me, comment the word group below and I'll send you the details. If you like this video, do leave a thumbs up, do leave a comment, do share the video and subscribe and hit the notification button if you found this video helpful. This video is video 4 in my no-cost mini-series exploring strategies for healing from chronic conditions like chronic fatigue syndrome, CFS, ME, fibromyalgia, long COVID and related conditions. So do check out the other videos and I will release the next video usually on a Monday. Thanks for watching. Dare to dream big dreams. Keep going, you've got this. Wishing you great health. Bye for now.